Hello and welcome to the SRC Senior Racing Club Split 2 race taking place this weekend at the fantastic Mount Panorama. But there's a catch. It's wet, it's in the morning, and the wet level is variable, although it is meant to be light. However, as we found out this week through testing and doing various different races, it is very difficult to get nailed. You need multiple setups just to cater for the opportunity to go to slicks. Obviously, keeping your tyre temperatures spot on. And there's also a mandatory tyre stop, so everybody must stop for tyres. They are not allowed to refuel. So they're also running around with what will be full tanks of fuel. So it's certainly going to be interesting. We're in pre-practice at the moment. So basically, this is a session to get used to the cars before official qualifying. This is taken place on the Friday. The qualifying takes place on the Saturday and the race takes place on the Sunday. So what happens is the practice is an hour earlier than qualifying in the race, but the qualifying and the race are done at the same time. It is operating with an ambient temperature as well, so that ambient temperature does mean that there's also potentially a fluctuation when it isn't raining or the rain isn't as hard, and you know that can also impact the tyres. It's quite easy to burn your tyres up on here if the rain does ease off a little bit, so it's quite a hard judgment call while you're sat on the grid. What do you go for? It is possible to get to slicks if the rain is light enough, and there's about a cut-off in times when you get to slicks. I think it's when you get down to the 211s. I think at that point, when you get the wets 211s, you can switch to the slicks or 212s, and then obviously that gives you another degree of comfortability when you're on the track, because obviously the slicks do tend to be faster. But I will say though, just around the mountainside, it can also get quite slippy. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be in a challenge. I'm hoping it's not going to be carnage. The split 2 number of cars is usually quite reduced because we don't have as many drivers in split 2. Unfortunately, this morning there was a race for meant to be an endurance race where some of our races were taking part. They had problems with the server, and unfortunately that race got cancelled. So some of them guys who I think were going to do that endurance race can actually race, but I'm not too sure, you know, whether they've been preparing for this race, because I believe it was at Spa. So from a conditions perspective, they will have been used to a different track and obviously a dry track. So I think that's going to also tell who's likely to win on this one. It's really difficult. There's quite a few guys who are running really fast at the moment. What I will put on the screen is I will show you what their current laps are, so just so you can see what's going on. So if I do the personal bests, you get to see in essence what their personal bests are. So you can see there we've got, oh, Peter's just slid it round the corner. We've got Kai, who had a great race last week actually, who's in the 212s.3, and from behind him we've got Uwe and Jeroen, who's behind him. Peter, Jorgen, they're all in the 212s. So I was on about 211s. That tells me that it's not as hard on the rain as it is, and you know the possibility is you might get to slicks if the session was to stay like that. From a conditions perspective, it is going to be a lottery. It really is going to be a lottery. What has been surprising this week in the races is it's turned the tables upside down. You know, people who don't normally finish in the podiums have been on the podiums. Seasoned racers haven't been within the top part of the race at all, or made a mistake because they've been pushing. So I think it's going to be quite interesting when this race does actually start, really, and I'm really looking forward to it. And obviously it's the split 1 guys tomorrow who are going to race, so same conditions, again unpredictable, so it's a case of getting the setup right and you know, running it well. And there we can see Kai has just managed to get it into the 211s, so that tells me that the wet tyres now he's running are probably going to start heating up a little bit, because he's getting to that point now where you can probably go out on slicks and still do the same lap time. So that's almost like a cut-off. You do want to stay off the curbs, though, if you go slicks. And we've got Andy. Hi, Andy. Quite lonely in the chat at the moment. Just me and thee. There's probably others in there, but some don't like speaking up. But let's see where this goes. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think the devil's going to be in the detail of this race. You know, Jorgen's gone even faster now. Jorgen looks like he's going into the 210s. So I could be wrong on the split of the times, but they're going faster and faster. But them tyres will start screaming. The wet tyres, once they get above 30.5, which is the top end of their effective working window, they do warm up quicker and quicker and quicker. And, you know, they're all right while they're yellow, but as they start going yellow to orange, that's when you get problems, and the back end will become really slippy. And eventually, if you don't pit, they will pop. So you know, it's a case of getting that balance right. I mean, there's not a lot of spray coming off at the back of Peter's car there, really. So yeah, quite interesting. I'll switch to Don now so we can see what Don's up to in there. And what I'm just going to do is just get something up ready for the race in preparation. So I can do a bit more... let's have a look. I need to just find something I can use during the race, actually. So I found it. That's exactly what I wanted. So, yeah. So what I'll do during the race is I'll pick the qualifying cars after the first lap, the route lap, and then we'll do a tour of the track, and I'll point out the no-go areas on the track, really, because in the wet you will get caught out. And the thing is, in the wet you've got to brake earlier. It sounds obvious that, but there's certain corners that you've got to brake even early just to get the car to rotate into the corner. If you don't brake early, you will end up in the wall. And as anybody who's raced in Mount Panorama before, the walls do not forgive you. You know, once you hit the wall, you're pretty much going to have to pit unless you brush with it. I'm expecting to see potentially flappy bonnets. But what we've done for this race is the pit window opens quite early on. So if you do have a problem on lap 1, you might be able to time it so you can pit. And what that means is, yes, you might have damage to repair, but you can still get away with doing one pit stop. So it doesn't take you out of the race completely. But we shall see. Waiting for qualification now. We've got 5 minutes left to go. Let's switch over to Uwe. So as you can see, BMWs are ruling this track at the moment. Let's look at what the different cars there are in here. So if I do the manufacturer, we can see clearly the Honda does appear to be quite a good car here. Jorgen's really got the Honda working well for him with that 211. And you can see we've got Kai in the Mercedes. He's really pushing that Mercedes well, actually, with the 211.8. And then we have the bank of the BMWs, you know, from 3rd down to 6th. And then we've got Benny, who's in his Lexus. And then Borat, who's the only Audi driver. And then we have a Andy Skelton in the Aston. And then we have a gaggle of Ferraris split by Mr. Schmidt in the BMW. Well, nice mixture of cars there. It'll be interesting to see... how this transpires. I'm not too sure what the favourite car is around here. From a stability perspective, I'd have thought the BMW, because the Honda can get quite loose. I think the Mercedes is quite stable as well. But they're the cars that I think are more likely to not end up in the wall. The Audi's alright actually as well. I'm not a Lexus fan. Not too sure how the Lexus manages over the hills. The fact that we've got 3 Ferraris out of the last 4 makes me think the Ferrari's not suiting the hill either. I don't know if it just lacks a bit of grunt up the hill or it needs to go through the mountain section slow. But I'm sure we'll find that out. Looks like we're going to end up with 13 unless there's going to be some last minute jumpers in the qualifying section. Well, I don't think there was that many last week, to be honest. So what it does mean is these 13 guys are going to maximise the points. So I think it's going to be good. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll have a quick check at this now, I think the table is currently being led by Jorgen. I'll just confirm the table standings. Okay, split 2. Jorgen is leading with 113 points. Kai is second with 104 points. And then Don and Peter, third and fourth respectively, separated by 3 points. And Uwe and Peter are separated by 1 point. So that's Jorgen with 113. Kai with 104. Don with 99. Peter with 96. Uwe with 95. Melvin I know isn't racing today. He's then in 6th with Andy Skelton. So Andy Skelton's got the potential of gaining here. But what you've also got to be aware of is that the way it works, the system will automatically remove the lowest score, the lowest race score. I've got to stress that because there's an important point to be made with the lowest race score. So if you don't race, you do not start. That cannot be excluded from your lowest score because it is a non-scoring result. If you race, you pit on lap 1, you will get points because you have classed as being raced. Now, there was the option of saying you've got to have raced so far, but basically, so far into the race for it to count, but we've not got that restriction in place. So if somebody does pit on lap 1 as a hardware failure, they will still finish the race and they will be classified with the relevant points. If that's a low pointing score, they will lose that score from their tally. Compared to someone who doesn't race, they're going to lose. Basically, they're going to acquire 0 points. So staying on the track and pitting is probably valuable. You also get a point for quali, the fastest qualifier, and you get a point for pole. For the fastest lap. So, there's a few points on offer for different things here, and I think it's interesting to realise that that little point here and that little point there can have a big impact at the end of the season. When you're talking 1 or 2 points between people, I think we've got to really think about that as an option and say, well, I'm going to go for qualifying, I'm going to go for pole, and I'm going to go for fastest lap. So let's see where that transpires and takes us anyway. Now down to 1 minute left of official practice, and we're on board at the moment. We're watching Benny's car coming through the last corner onto the conrod. Lovely straight. You can see he's been brushing the wall there as well. The rain does look heavy, but I don't think it's as heavy as you think it is, because I'm looking at the track and there's no massive standing puddles on the track. And what you will find is if they've heated the tyres up, they'll be looking for the puddles. And in fact, there's dry patches on the track. You can see there is dry patches on the track. So I do think if you were pitting, you would benefit from probably pitting onto slicks or reduced temperatures on your wets, because you will kill them. You will absolutely kill them. Counting down 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's practice over. Cars will finish the laps, and then they'll go to qualifying. As I said, from a qualifying perspective, what we can do is we'll ride on board with someone. We'll do a lap tour of the track. Go through the corners and the wheres and what fors of where not to go, certainly when the conditions are wet. The race could actually start under dry conditions with the rain coming down, so we'll just have to wait and see at the moment, see what actually happens and transpires in quali, but it could be different. Then the fun starts. To wrap over. 13 cars on track means the grid work's not going to be too massive anyway, so I can hopefully get that sorted in plenty of time. Yeah, Benny's the only way on track at the moment, so what we'll do is we'll go to pit lane and we'll sit in the pits for a minute and just wait for the session to roll over. So you can see there the cars are nicely wet. But actually the track doesn't look too bad. Very similar to the rain in Brazil today. I'm not much mistaken. They had a bit of light rain in the qualification. I'm not going to give anything away, don't worry. If you haven't seen quali, I recommend you watch it. It's for sprint race, isn't it, first? So they've got a sprint race to determine the starting positions. So that's going to be one worth watching as well.
Green light, go, go, go.
Here we go. We are now at official quali. Let me just get me game, reset, and we're in official quali. Let me get rid of the little boxes on the screen because I don't need them. There you go. That's much better, much cleaner. And we can see Kenny's one of the first guys coming out the pits. And the track is dry. So what did I say? The possibility of the conditions. The track is dry. Hi, Steve. And Ken's realised there's no point in going out in wet, so he's going to go straight back into the pits. Well, I did say lottery. And I actually said just before that the race could start under dry conditions. The race could be dry. The whole race could be dry. I'm just looking at it, and quali is green because you can see the clouds at the top above the SRC. That says in the next 30 minutes it's not going to rain. This is really going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons because people are going to be able to put absolutely flying laps in because the track isn't even greasy. You know, can't predict it, can you? They're all sat there now going, thank God for that. I'm going to get a good lap in and this, that and the other. So we'll sit with Peter, and then when Peter comes over the finish line, I will go on board and we'll do a bit of a lap guide with him. Car around through the mountain section at the moment, yes, isn't that? Nicely done. So we're on board with Peter, and when we go this next lap I will let you know exactly where he's up to on the track. Just give you an indicator of the track positions. As the conditions are dry, it's going to, you know, change things a little bit. Your braking points are going to be much later. Nice through there. Set himself up for a nice lap here. Got quite high traction control there, and he's running map 6. Interesting. And there we go. So he's now on, obviously, the pit straight, and the first corner here is Hell Corner. Looking to take that second, get the power down as soon as possible without drifting too right. You can go beyond track limits there, and then this is full throttle all the way down. This is called the mountain straight, so you get a little bit of a dip. You can see the dip coming under the Audi Sport sign, and you'll gain a bit more speed here. You're looking to brake just before the 50 into Quarry Bend, making the apex as close as possible, and get the power down quite early on coming out the corner, drifting the car left and then moving it over to the right so you can take this corner, called the cut-in, flat out, then start braking hard and then go through this bit here, which takes us into Griffin's Mount. Always difficult this bit to work out where we are. We're at Reed Park, and then we're coming up to Sulman Park. Yeah, you've got to get the car to the left and then brake into McPhillamy Park and Skyline and the S's. So this is like one big sequence of corners. Just took that really nice and tidy, and then finally the dipper. Oh, he's hit the wall there so slightly, and he's taking Forest Elbow. Power down as soon as you can coming out this corner without hitting the wall, and he'll be flat out now down the Conrod Straight, where he'll probably get the car to about 100. Well, we'll see it in kilometres, but in miles an hour it's about 167, 166, 167 mile an hour. Conrod Straight. Now he'll start picking speed up. Now he's over the hill, and he gets into the chase, which is this bit. Brake around just before the 100, and that'll take him into Murray's Corner, the left-hander. Get loose there. Sorry, that was the chase. This will take him into Murray's corner, the left-hander here, onto the pit straight. That lap could have been tidier, I think. That might be his tyre still coming to temperature. You can see he's battling with the car there. But that was a 2:09, so that's 2 seconds quicker than they were on the wet tyres before. So, well, that's Peter. Let's jump on board with someone else. This is Girowin. Another BMW. He looked like he was pretty quick before as well, so it's interesting to see. And we've got... Hi, Craig. If it's dry tomorrow for split one, I'm going to find that wheel and burn it down. Terry, hi Terry. Yeah, dry Andreas. Say, really surprised us because just before we were in practice, it was lashing it down. Who said racing was predictable, eh? I'm fortunate I've got a few different setups, so I might be alright to squeeze one in tomorrow. Joe Rins managed to put in a 2:08 or 2:06 from Uwe. That's quite a lap, so he's really flying there. Peter's up again, so Peter's 1.2 seconds up. He's now getting confidence in the tyres, the conditions, so he is going to go quicker, and he's going much quicker. But Jorgen is absolutely flying at the moment. Jorgen's behind. So we'll follow Jorgen, and we should... Will we see Jorgen on the straight at the same time? No, see, so he's just coming round the corner now, Jorgen. So he's not going to see Peter in his view, just to entice him a little bit further. Hi, Roman. Jorgen's currently on for a 2:06.5, 2:06.6. Peter's on for a 2:06.8, I think, at the moment. No, he's now on for a 2:06.4. Sorry, 2:07.3. Sorry, I was 1 second up. Jorgen is flying here. He's going for a 2:06.6 at the moment. He is going to claim provisional pole. He's gone around that corner really well. And there he goes. He claims provisional pole with a 2:06.5. Where's Mr. Schaefer? Because Mr. Schaefer's been looking fast as well. There he is in the Mercedes. And let's see how Kai does in the Mercedes. He was looking good in practice, even in the wet conditions. So I think he's got that Mercedes well tuned. But tyre settings are somewhere else. Nicely taking the corners, the pair of them there. Getting the power down nice and early as well. Nice livery on that. Really nice livery. I like that one. It's nice and clean and sparkly. Yeah, with the gloss. He's really taking that corner wide, isn't he? Getting it braking into second gear, getting the corner taken. A bit sideways there. He just lost the rear ever so slightly. There's no comparison of his lap time. Oh, Peter's gone sideways behind him. He's kept it on the track, but he did go sideways coming through that bend. And Kai looks like he's warming his tyres up and he's letting Peter go. So Kai's probably going to go for a flying lap this time. He was getting his tyres. There has been contact between Don and Jorgen. Obviously it's qualification. It may have been they're coming out the pits or something like that. Or they've had contact. It could be one of the cars has spun and the other car spun on track. I don't know why I've got 2 overlays of the times. Let me just see if I can get rid of that. There you go. That's better. Sorry about that. I must have pressed the button without realising it. I didn't realise that was on screen. What I do now? So the fun of the race. I'm expecting Kai this time to do a good lap. That lap he backed off was a 2:09. He's got loads in the bucket here, I think. I'm expecting him to be in the 2:06s, I think. And then he's just gone quicker. Borrett's gone quicker. Just tethering that throttle as he comes around the bend there to keep the car rotating in a forward motion quickly. Changing down a gear to get through there. First gear through that bend as well, that's interesting. In the wet you just get loads of wheel spin unless you turn your traction control down. So he's running traction control of 5. And map 1, which is dry conditions. Peter in front's pulling away, but Jerwin is going for pole. Jorgen's not got the rule of the roost at the moment. We've got 4 minutes to go, and Jerwin is looking really quick at the moment. He's starting a new lap. We'll jump to him when Kai's got this lap out of the way. Kai is 1.6 seconds up, and we know he's going to gain a boatload here because he slowed down. I'm expecting that time to rocket now. He must have slowed down much because he's not actually taking off. So 207.6 at the moment. Carries on, it'll be on 207.6. Let's get his braking point spot on here. 207.5. 4. Peter's gone. 207.2. So yeah, he's got himself 4th. Might get another lap in there. Let's go with Jerwin. He's running flat time at the moment, so he's not gaining or losing. That was a good corner though. That gave him a bit of time. Let's see how this gives it him on the straight and getting his braking point. Quite short shift there in that. No, Craig, it's a different day. So this day, the qualifying's done on the Saturday, the race is done on a Sunday, so there's no rolling over purely because they're completely different days. And there he did. He bettered himself ever so slightly, but I did say he had the legs. Kai is absolutely flying. Kai's 1.2 seconds up, and he will be in the 205s. He will be the first driver into the 205s at this rate, if he can keep it all together. Ooh, we've got that corner lovely there. Borrett's now got pole instead of Jorgen, but they're going to be irrelevant. I think he's going for a 2.0. This could be a 2.059 or a 2.06 flat. Let's just see. I've done my maths completely wrong. Lovely corner there, Kai. Yeah, he got another 10th in the bag there. 206 flat, 206.062. But Borrett is not going to be had. Borrett is also looking at the same time, and at the moment is on to steal pole from Kai. No, he's not. He's lost a 10th through there. That 10th is the difference between second and pole, believe it or not. He was on for a 205 and he's losing more and more time. He's lost the back end. So that's his lap spent. Don Harvey is fluctuating between pole and second. He's lost a 10th coming up here. Jorgen is now looking for pole, but he's just spun. He's just ruined his lap. So there's only 2 drivers on decent laps at the moment. That's on Don and Ken. Kenny's nearly a second up, which will put him into the 208s. We'll move him forward to 1 place at the moment. If he can gain another 2 tenths, he might start moving up the leaderboard even further. Don is now 4 tenths up, but he's lost another 10th there. He was going for pole. He's now looking at second, although he's closed the gap. Now he's on for pole. That was excellent. He gained 2/10 in that corner, and he's lost them under power. So he's come out that corner, masses his time up, and getting the power down. He's lost 3/10. He's going to need a miracle here to get pole. Trying to force it. He's lost another 10th. You could see he was trying to force it into the corner. The tyres, they were gripping too early. Yeah, he's 2/10 down. He was really good at one point. He was on for pole. So Kenny's coming. Kenny's 9/10 up. So this will be a good lap for Kenny. This. It'll be in the 208s for Kenny. It's moved him up. As I said, it would move him up in front of Richard. So Kenny's going to be happy with that lap. The only person who can do a hot lap at the moment, who can upset the front guys, is going to be Jorgen. Jorgen's currently languishing in 4th. I say languishing, 4th's great, but Jorgen won't think so. And then we'll get the lottery of the race. Is it dry or is it wet? And all this could be for absolutely nothing. Jorgen is going faster, but at the moment he's not going fast enough for pole. He's only going faster on his own time. This could move him up though. This could move him up in front of Borrett, and if he can gain another 10th, it will put him up in front of Don, so he could get second. He's losing his time here on the straight. Yeah, he could still get Borrett. Now. He got that braking point and zone spot on. He gained 3/10 in that corner. So this is going to put him into second. If he can get this corner nailed, he's going to end up in second. Oh, he gained another 10th there. And there he is, second place. Excellent stuff. So let's go to the track while the grid forms. And then when the grid's ready, I will get the grid walk set up and we'll do a very, very brief grid walk. Give the drivers the pleasure they deserve of having their announcements given where they are on the grid. Kai, where was the rain? Yeah, they're all surprised that there was no rain. Just because the quali's dry, I think there's a false sense of security here. Yeah, Borrett's just saying in the chat in the game, don't call the devil. John Wilson saying they're still in the Microsoft clouds. That's very clever, John. Very clever. Yeah, Jorgen, we've been practicing the whole week for wet. Actually, there was one day where I think it was dry, and a few of us went out in dries. So I think in slick tyres, I think you can do it. You know, you can't make these racing drivers happy, can you? All week they've been complaining about the conditions. They don't, the fact it's going to be wet, and now it's dry. They're complaining that it's not wet. Can't win. Really can't win at all. Oh dear, dear, dear. Come on, move over, server, into the to the race. Ready? So the track temperature at the moment is 21 degrees, and the air temperature is 21 degrees. So it'll be interesting to see. And the wind is coming from a northeasterly way. So it'll be interesting to see what that is for the race. Although when I say wind, it's really not blowing anything. So that's one thing you can't control in the game, actually, is wind. Which is a shame, because you can do everything else. It'd be great if you could put a strong wind on there, so you get a tailwind coming up the straight or a headwind coming down the straight. I think that would be good as well. Right, and the grid is formed, so just let me get set up so I can do the grid walk. Okay, fine, let me get all done, and then I'll go through the grid walk with you all. Okay, so Let's look down the grid. So in pole position in the Mercedes, we have Kai Schaefer with a time of 206.062. Then in second place we have Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, who's in the Honda with a time of 206.242. Now I've Don Harvey in the BMW with a time of 206.445, and then Boris Belajic in the Audi with a time of 206.557. We then have Jeroen Woestman with a time of 206.595, and Uwe Thollen with a time of 206.615. We then have Peter de Jong with a time of 207.310, and then Benny Heim with a time of 207.970 in the Lexus. And I have Ken Schmidt in the BMW with a time of 208.830, and then Richard Columb in the Ferrari with a 209.402. We then have another Ferrari of John Wilson with his time of a 210.817, and then Thierry Ars with a time of 211.587, and then in the Aston at the back we have Andy Skelton with a time of 211.375. So that's where we are. We shall go to the Helicam for the start of the race, concentrate on Kai at the front of the grid, and let's see where this takes us. So just to reiterate, this is now a wet race, so everyone's like, okay, it is raining. The track temperature is cooler, it's 20 degrees, so it's a little bit cooler, and the rain is going to decrease, so the track is damp. Now, what I'd be tempted to do here is go out on my wet for a few laps and then pit onto the dries, because the track is going to come to you on the dries, and because fuel's not an issue, get your pit out of the way early on, because 30 minutes time the rain's going to get less, and the track is currently only damp. That's going to make a big difference, that. Hi Melvin.
Green light.
Here we go. Lights have gone green. I'm not expecting too much trouble in the first corner, purely because of the number of cars. They'll all respect each other, so you can see Kai's got round. It's just nice, easy driving. You know, the number of cars doesn't matter, but you can just have a nice go around the corner there. So Ken made a little bit of a pass, and Don's made a bit of a pass on Borat. I've obviously had a good toe there, but Borat's got the inside corner. Is this a case of who blinks first? And Borat's done it and let him go. It is a marathon, not a sprint, and equally Andy Skelton is trying to take Thierry, both going around side by side, very close there. I'm not too sure whether there was contact. I've got nothing coming up in the game to tell me whether there was contact, but again, coming into this corner, you really do want to be on the inside. And Andy's now got that move made and done. So he's already picked off one of the Ferraris. He's now looking at John Wilson in the next Ferrari. So Andy's made a good start there. Again, all drivers are not pushing because they're going to be learning the conditions. Let's jump to a bit of the midfield, and you can see Jeroen has tried to take a bit of a corner there. He wants to be careful getting off track, but he did make it stick. I think he made a pass on Borat. I don't know whether he was avoiding Borat in the first place, but he did manage to make a pass there. And they're all going around the corner. They're all going around well, actually. There's no major issues there. And you can see everyone is managing to get round at the first lap. Oh, he speaks too soon. And Jürgen. What happened with Jürgen there? Well, let's go back to Jürgen. Jürgen's running down, and let's see what happened from Jürgen's perspective. So he's come down here. See the rain. He's obviously using a bonnet cam because he's not got his windscreen wiper on, and I know that because that's me. He's put the power down too early. Yep, there you go. Oh, he might want to pit early on. The pit window's not open. Has he got a bent wheel? No, he's not. Oh, that's the replay over. So, okay, that didn't quite go to plan for Jürgen, actually. Jürgen's now behind Peter. Okay, just put the power down too early. It's very easy to do that corner. Very easy, because you're tempted to get the power down so you can rock it along the straight. But if you're too early, certainly in these conditions, it's going to play nightmare with you. Borat's got a problem here. He seems to be dropping back. I don't see any damage on the car, and I don't see the fact that he's been involved in an incident. But he just seems to have dropped a couple of places there. I'm not too sure the reason for that. He seems to be slow coming out the corner, unless he got his corner braking point wrong and he's just struggled a little bit getting going again. Or he could be on wets and the tyres have just started to overheat already. He's going to take 2 or 3 laps on to overheat, but that's the only reason why I could see him struggling with where he is. He's now back on the back of Richard. Jorgen's now caught back up to Peter, so Jorgen's car can't have been damaged that much. It's not a passing sector up here either. Kai's 1 second clear now and Don's 5 seconds clear. Don's currently got the fastest lap, 2:17, so the conditions are slippy. I wouldn't be putting slicks on just yet, I think it's fair to say. But I would expect this lap to for the times to come down, start coming down significantly, and at the moment Benny's looking like he's going to be putting a really groundbreaking time in here. You can see he's now going to get in the tow as well, potentially. That Lexus is quick in a straight line though, I think it's fair to say. There doesn't seem to be any damage on Jorgen's car. He's really got away with that because he smacked that wall. Yeah, look at the Lexus on the braking, really gaining. I think we're going to see a very good lap time here from Benny. Andy Skelton's took Borrett. Andy Skelton's moving forward well. What time is Benny going to do? And has he got the fastest lap? Don Harvey with a 2:11.4. Don Harvey is absolutely flying, and he's closed the gap right down on Kai now. So he's really putting pressure on Kai. So I don't know whether Kai made a mistake, although he was only a second, so that's not too much of a gap. But that BMW is all over the back of the Mercedes now, so this is going to be interesting. And you can see the track is really starting to dry up. Still a bit wet, but it's really starting to dry up. I did say it's going to go dry, so these guys now will be looking at when to pit the pit stop, because they're doing 2:11s. That is the cut-off point really for, I think, slicks. I think I said this before. When you get to the 2:11s, low 2:11s, I think you can get away with putting slicks on. I think me and Branko did that the other day. It was dicey, but yeah, it was the break-even because you could still do 2:11s on the slicks. Don's got a lot of good grip there, actually. Really going for it, Don. He's going to get him on the straight, I think. I reckon. Let's see if he's got the grunt. No, that Mercedes is pulling away. Even a tow's not going to help him here. It's too far back. Putting the car in a good position, Kai, there, though. He doesn't want to use any excessive track. Braking well. You see the car just moving ever so slightly on the braking there. Got a really good run here as Don. Kai's not going to race him. I think Kai knows it's a marathon. Oh, he's back end then. I thought he was just about to start spinning, and we do have a problem. Let's see what's happened with Jorgen. Jorgen's having an adventure today. Has he hit the curb and lost it? Because in the Honda race midweek, if you got one wheel on the curb, it just took you off track. So let's see what happened. We did know he went off track, but did he hit anything? Oh. Whoa. A bit of belly dancing there between... There was no contact between them. I'm not seeing any contact. Borrett's off track, so something's wrong with Borrett. I'll jump to that one as soon as the replay finishes. And oh, Boris decided to get out and smash a sign up. There's been contact with Thierry as well. I presume that was Thierry and Jeroen, and Jeroen's hit the wall. Got his braking point wrong, and that's give Thierry the place back, I presume. So Thierry's now going to get the corner. A bit of action. It's all kicking off. All kicking off. think Jorgen's on slicks, do we? He is now pitted. So he's either burnt his tyres or he was on the wrong tyre selection. But the views I saw before and the fact that the track is damp and the rain is reducing tells me that slicks is probably the right choice. Because they will come to you as the race moves on and you start getting a dry line. The Jorgen's done. That was a tyre stop Jorgen's done there. Jorgen's back out and he's got a lot of catching up to do, but actually he's not, because he's managed to pit quite early on, which means the gap to the front runners isn't going to be massive. Let's jump to Peter. Peter's really putting pressure on Uwe now. 2 BMWs. And let's see where this takes us. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, wow, that was excellent driving by Peter. He saw Uwe had gone out of control and I thought he's going to make contact. He brought the car to a halt or slowed it down enough so he never made contact. That was great. Great stuff, that, Peter. And off he goes. He carries on. And he's now going to be hunted down by the Lexus of Benny. So Uwe lost 2 places as a result of that, and he's also decided to pit. So I don't know if he's on the wrong tyres. But I did say a couple of laps in. So at the moment, it looks like not too far off what I was saying. So yeah, so Boruc's now passed, so I'm not too sure. Problem is I don't get to see what tyres they're on, unfortunately, so I can't actually tell you if they're on wets, if they're on dries. I have no way of knowing. It's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast, so we just have to go with it as it stands, because I can't physically see anything about the cars really. Right, so Jeroen is still putting pressure on Thierry. So his car can't have been damaged when he hit the wall, and he'll be putting pressure on Terry now for a couple of laps, I think, until one of them decides to force themselves into the pits. The lap times are quite down, so just to put into perspective, Don's last lap was a 2:11.247, which is the fastest lap. These two guys are running the 2:16s. They are 5 seconds down, so there's a definite difference in approach on the tyres. I thought Jeroen was going to make a dive across the cut-off area there, but they're still at it, still going for it. Andy Skelton has made a pass on Richard. Andy Skelton's now up to 5th. And Don, is it Don pitted? No, it was showing Don as white, which means running slower than normal. And same for Kai, but they're not. I'm not too sure whether... interesting. Looks planted, that Mercedes, to be fair. I think it's the wet weather, because they're going slower than expected. The game thinks they're actually slowing down when they're not. You can see Peter has also been white there, and he's now catching Benny actually in the Lexus. Richard's pitting. Get him to Richard. Richard's going into the pits. He's really crawling in. Has he ran out of fuel or something? Ah, he's playing with his setup. So he's going into the pits and he's sat there playing with his tyres. That's what that tells me. You must be careful, because if another car comes into the pits, they're going to be colliding. It's only when they hit the pit lane, the pit line, do you ghost. He must have got it right now. So he's going down to his pit box. So that's cost him a good 10 seconds, I think, doing that. Having your pit strategy set is quite key in this. Although, yeah, he's pulling into his pit stop now. So he's moving over. He's the only car currently in the pits. Kai is running quick. Let's jump to Kai. So Kai's looks like he's got the grit between his teeth again now. He wants to keep up with Don. I'd love to know what tyres are on, because if Don's on the doing 2:11s and he's on slicks, it goes to show that that cut-off time is pretty much spot on, and that's good to know for the race tomorrow. I'm sure the likes of Craig and that will be, and Steve will be noting that if you get down to 2:11s, it's good enough to put slicks on. So are we going to see Don go any quicker as a result of moving on to slicks? We'll have to wait and see, just to see if he can get into the 210s, then the 29s and so on. I think when he starts, the tyres start coming into play, I think we'll see his time start to tumble a little bit. Kai is... Let's see where Kai's up to on here. I think he's nearly a second quicker than Don this lap. Kai did a 2:12.2. Don did a 2:12.4, sorry. He's gaining on Don ever so slightly. The gap is 3.3 seconds, and we can see Richard just come out the pits. Peter's still trying to hunt down Benny. Now, there was contact there. I presume Benny's hit Peter, because it's showing contact against... Peter's hit Benny. It's showing contact against Benny, and as there's only Peter nearby, and if Peter's got his braking point wrong, or it's coming into the pits. He's coming in at a much more erratic rate than I think Richard was, as long as he gets it stopped to that 31 or 50 kmh, 31 mph, mile per hour, 50 kmh. He should be alright to get his pits out of the way. The interesting thing is what tyres is he coming out in? Well, I think we'll have to see what tyres... We're not going to know, let's face it, so we'll just have to see what the judgment call is. Let's go back to Jeroen, because he's still putting pressure on Thierry. So obviously on the straight, that Ferrari must be pulling well. Hi Chris. Yeah, let's keep it on the island. But when you've got walls either side, it's hard to go off the island. in general, actually, it's the end of the conrod that's been causing problems. We've seen more cars go off at the end of the conrod, getting the braking points wrong, or putting the power down too early. Everyone seems to be okay through the mountain section at the moment. But we've had a few pits carried out already. A few pit stops. The tactics are going to come into play as to what tyres you put on, because the rain is decreasing. The track has gone from damp to greasy. So that means the rain has definitely eased off, and that you can now see there's going to be dry lines appearing on the track. So if we went down to track side, you'd actually see dry lines on the track. And Jeroen's just hit the wall there, so that wall there, if you hit it wrong, will buckle your wheel. You'll be driving at an angle. So I don't know if he's going to pit and get that out of the way, but you will start to see a dry line. In fact, you can see there where the lines would normally be on the road. That looks like it's drying out, and we're now getting a reflection off the lights. I think this track is turning dry. Great under braking, that BMW, compared to the Ferrari. Kai is pitting. So, is he going to try the undercut? Jeroen has got his braking point wrong. That looks pretty bad. Yeah, he missed his braking point. Oh, that's going to hurt. His bonnet's right up. So he's gone into the pits now. That's put pay to Jeroen getting his laps in, because he's now going to have to serve at least a 2-minute pit stop. That's going to put him right at the back. Yeah, so Jürgen is currently running in 8th. He's the series leader. Kai's coming out the pits, so Kai should end up with a net result of staying in second when Don pits. It'll be interesting to see how heavy the rain is. Let's go to the cockpit and just see how heavy that rain is. It's not heavy at all, that, is it? In fact, it's almost dry. First lap you'll have a bit twitchy with the tyres, but second lap, if they're wet, so if they're dries, he'll be going for it. I'd be interested to see where he competes with Don. A bit slippy there. Back end wanted to carry on going. He held it well though. Nice through there. Bearing in mind he's on new tyres. He does need to get him running for a lap or two yet. Nice again through there, didn't hit the wall, avoided the wall. Sector right, this is a difficult one on new tyres. Yeah, you can see now, there's no water on the track at all. So anyone on wet tyres, if they started on wets, the tyres will be dead now. They'll be screaming. Oh, he went very deep there, did Kai. Wow, you could hear the tyres locking up quite early on. And he's got ABS on Thor as well. I think Chris is taking the mick out of me. All right. He couldn't see it had been sent. Okay, that's a bit deep. That could have gone really wrong. But yeah, so half the field had now pitted. He's just going into the corners a bit too quick, isn't he? He's having to overcorrect and keep brakes on longer. In fact, he's just played with a button on his dashboard then. I've not seen his traction control change actually, so I don't know what it is he's changed. But he did touch a button. Maybe it's the bias a little bit, the brake bias. You don't get to see that on the dashboard. Or we don't get to see it anyway. Richard's also running on a half decent lap. What I haven't put on for you guys, my mistake, is the gaps. Sorry about that. There you go. I'll put the race gaps on for you now. And I'll put the best lap times on as well. You've got the personal best, and you've got then you've got the gaps. The fact is, you can probably see most of the gaps anyway. Yeah, Richard's. You can see how easy the cars are going around the corners now, in comparison to where they were going previously. Yeah, Uwe has done a 210. I'm going to hazard a guess they are slicks. As I said, I think we're going to see these times dropping now. But Uwe had a big spin early on, and I think he pitted after that spin. And he's now, I presume he's now gone out on slicks, and he's now feeling the benefit of the slick tyres. No movement in the cars at all. You don't get that in the BMW. The BMW is just one hell of a planted car. It's almost too easy to drive. No, the forecast is not for the rain to increase. It's for the rain to decrease. So it's going to be in 10 minutes. It's going to get even lighter, and in 30 minutes it's going to be, well, when the race is over, it'll be even lighter still. So it's not going to get any worse. Skelton, yeah, he's having another storming run here. He's yet to make a pit stop though, so the pit stop is going to move him down a couple of places. But Uwe has just done a 2:10.5 and is now the fastest. He's doing the fastest lap. So I do think these times are going to be more reflective now of a drying track. Yeah, the track temperature has gone up. It was 20 degrees. It's gone to 21. So I do expect as the rain eases off, that temperature, the track temperature will increase quicker. So we may end up with it being 23, 24 at the end of the race. Might not. And that'll obviously impact the tyres as well and the grip levels of the tyres. As the track is where it is, they'll still need to be pushing heat into the tyres. They're not going to run at optimum at the moment. Kai is absolutely flying now. I think we're going to see possibly fastest lap here. Possibly. He's just a little bit tentative through there actually. He's flung it through that corner. Absolutely flung it. Kai's trying to close the gap on Don. But just to give you a lap comparison, Don's last lap was a 2:11.5. Kai's last lap was a 2:11.4, so they're very, very close. But this lap of Kai's is gonna he's gonna take a good second out of Don, and as the gap was only 3 seconds, this pit stop could be paying the price. And Thierry's now decided to pit, so Thierry's now entering the pits. We'll just stay with Kai. He's currently 1.3 seconds up from his his best time, I think. This could be the fastest lap. And as I said, I think the times are going to continue to drop. There you go, a 2:10.1. So he's basically took nearly a second and a half out of Don there in one lap alone. And Don is also down on this lap. So I don't know if Don started on slicks or wets and he's still running them. But I don't know if he's aware that I think Kai might get him in the pit stop here. Because Kai's lap, 1.5 seconds, nearly 1.5 seconds, is quite significant when the gap is only 3 seconds. And Kai's going quicker again. Kai's going to get into the 209s here. And that means he's nearly 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds out of Don in one lap alone. Don probably needs to think about pitting. Otherwise, staying out another 2 laps is going to cost him. I think Kai's going to get this nailed if Don doesn't pit now. Still might be too late for Don, looking at the times and the splits. There you go, Don's going into the pits. It's like he's listening to me. Hi, Nikos. Yeah, so what we've got... Oh, no. It's all gone pear-shaped for Kai. Can't find my mouse. Give me my mouse back. Just when I need my mouse. Kai spun it in the mountain. Let's have a quick look at what happened to him. As he hit the wall. He's got his point wrong there. Oh, he's okay there. Oh, he's brushed the wall, and he's got the Austin Powers effect where he's going forward, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. That's cost him. That means Don is gonna... Oh, Peter de Jong has actually claimed first. I will say though, Peter's not pitted yet. So Kai is up and running, but his car is, as you can see, is damaged. So I think that's going to affect Kai a little bit. That now, just have to wait and see where it takes us. Andy Skelton is running second, but he's yet to make a pit stop. Don, I think, net first here now as a result of Kai going into the wall. If Andy can keep out a little bit longer, and I mean, looking at Andy's lap times though, he's 2 seconds off his fastest pace. He probably needs to consider stopping because everyone behind him is quicker, and he's gonna lose loads of places in the pit stop alone. So he probably needs to think about pitting early on as well, as soon as possible. Now, Jorgen's pitted twice, as is John, as is Benny. So these 3 guys have all pitted twice, where all the other guys have pitted once, with the exception of Andy, who's only pitted once, and Peter. Sorry, them two have not pitted at all. My apologies, not pitted once, not pitted at all. But Peter is going quicker on old tyres, and maybe Peter started on slicks. I don't know. Can't really tell from that. He nearly got sideways then. That was a bit of a twitching moment. He nearly went into the other side of the wall there, under braking. Peter's going to stay out as long as he can, I think, and then he's going to do a mad dash into the pits, I think, towards the end. I think some of the other guys did that the other day. There's no battles on track at the moment. I think the pits has just disrupted everything a little bit. Kai is up and running again, but his lap times aren't in comparison to where they were. I think Kai just pushed and pushed and pushed. You can see his car's damaged, but that's not overly damaged. Still swaying under braking, that car. You can see it moving side to side as it comes into the braking zone. So, his lap time's not too bad actually. He's in the 210s. So 210s, and Peter's in the 212s. So that was a 2:10.9 and Peter's 2:12. So Peter's 2 seconds off the pace here in comparison to Kai. Kai is the fastest person. Sorry, no, Uwe is the fastest person on track at the moment. He's 2.8 seconds behind Kai. So this is where I think the battle's going to transpire in a minute. Because Uwe is over half a second quicker. And that was Uwe's last lap was his fastest lap. He only needs to gain 2/10 and he will have the fastest lap as well. So let's see where this takes us. So you're going for Kai for the win. Andy for the podium. Okay. So that means no, we've still got Andy Skelton and Peter to pit, Nikos. He's going to drop down probably 5 places when he pits. You go, Jorgen with a 2:10.1 has just done the fastest lap. The Jorgen's now flying. He's only 2 seconds behind Kenny. So he'll be catching Kenny at some point and going for the pass. So I'm going to switch over to Jorgen. And what we should see is we should see Kenny. And I think we'll see Jorgen gain on him through the mountain section. I mean, Kenny's lap's really good actually as well. Kenny's had some improvements this week, to be honest. Oh, and Don's gone off. That's going to cost Don a bit of time. He doesn't want to overspin it. He's managed to keep it. And again, same place. The end of the Conrod. And the chase seems to be catching a few people out. So Don's lost time there. I don't think he's lost time, but he has hit the wall. He's actually got contact on the wall. And he's still not chose to pit. Sorry, he has already pitted, hasn't he, Don? My apologies. Peter's now pitted. And that means Don is going to pass him. So Don is now net into his position. Kai is now showing as third. But look, Kai is now just behind Don. So that did cost Don. And Uwe. So I think these three are going to be in a great battle in a minute. Don, Kai and Uwe. I think that's the podium there. Sorry to say for Mr. Skelton, who's currently leading, but I don't think he's... I think when he pits, he's going to lose out. His lap times are really slow in comparison now. So I think his tyres must be shot, because he's sick, with the exception of Peter, who's just pitted. He's by far the slowest person on track. John Wilson's... is that with John Wilson? Where is he? Oh, he was hiding behind the barrier. The car doesn't look too bad. I presume he's just gone off because there's no damage on that car at all. And he's not pitting. So he must be okay. And there you are, Jorgen now going for the pass on Kenny. He'll get the inside line. And force Kenny around the outside. And we're now going to see Jorgen chase down Thierry. So Thierry in the Ferrari who's just gone past. We're going to see that battle commence very, very soon. So he is 7 seconds behind, but that 7 seconds will disappear through the mountain section, I think, when Jorgen gets to grips with it. Don't think you can do that, Nikos, actually. Oh, yes, you can. Here you go. Here you go. Everyone's done pits. Andy Skelton's pitting now. I think Jerowin's decided to retire. Oh no, he's coming out now. So he's coming out the pits. There you go. There's your pit stops. Right. So Andy Skelton is just pulling into the pits. He's currently 4th. He is going to lose another couple of places. Peter's just passed him. I think Borrett's going to get him as well. He might come out just in front of Thierry. We'll see. Jorgen's took 3 seconds out of Thierry on that mountain section alone, which is what I anticipated. So let's see if Jorgen can get the business done on Thierry and catch him and pass him. We shall see. He's eating into Thierry's time here. Thing is, I think on the straight that Ferrari's equally as quick as the Honda. I think on the Conrod it's going to be difficult unless he gets a really good toe. It's the corners the Ferrari struggles in. Yeah, Jorgen is into the 209s. There you go. So he's now the fastest lap. We've got 4 drivers now in the 209s. Sorry, 5 drivers. Benny, who's currently running 12th, is absolutely flying as well at the moment. But they're all pushing. Looking at the times, they're going to be in the 208 soon, I think. Although there's only 16 minutes to go. It's possible. And the reason why I say it's possible is because Jorgen's about to do that. If he keeps this lap up, he's going to be in the 208s. He's then going to have to start chasing down Andy Skelton. It's a bit of a challenge this for Jorgen, I think. He's got the pace, but he's not got the race left to do it. Yeah, he's right up the backside of Thierry now. Cackling at that Ferrari. He's 5 seconds quicker than Thierry on the last lap. I'd expect Jorgen to get himself set up for the straight here. To be fair to Thierry, he's doing a great job through the mountain section, where you can see he's having to bring that Ferrari speed right down, and the Honda's just coasting through the corners really easily in comparison. This is the key corner. Jorgen's setting himself up by the looks of it to get the power down early. Is it going to be enough though? As I said, that Ferrari's quick. Honda's all so quick. Not sure he's got it in him though, that Honda. The brave man throughout braking from there. I didn't think he'd be able to do it. Thierry's really bringing the car to a halt, isn't he, in comparison to Jorgen. Jorgen wants to keep the power down. He's even contemplating going off track here. Is he going to do it under braking? No, that would be disastrous. That could ruin his race. He's playing the sensible card here, I think. It's very defensive there, Thierry, holding the middle of the road. I think we're going to. Oh, let's be careful there, Jorgen. Oh! Is Jorgen going to go? Is Jorgen? Oh, he's kept it, but it's going to cost him because Kenny's coming back again. See, Kenny's coming behind him at a rate of knots there. I think he's going to get away with that. So Jorgen with a bit of a bum twitching moment while he's trying to catch Thierry. And Benny's off. And Benny's into the pits. So Benny's had a bit of a disaster there. Let's see what happened to Benny. How disastrous it actually was. Come round, he's catching Borrett there. That Borrett in the Audi. So far so good there. I think he's got it wrong here. Oh. No, he's alright. Oh, he's caught the wall. He's caught the wall on the right and it's forced him into the wall on the left. I think he's realised at that point his race was probably numbered, and that's put him towards the back now of the pits. Who can we go to? Kai is still chasing down Don. You can see Don in the distance, 2.3. So the lap times, Kai is doing the 209s. Don was a second slower the last lap. Kai's actually very consistent here. Keep an eye on this battle for a minute. See where this takes us. Every driver has now pitted at least once. So Andy Skelton had a net result of coming out in 6th place, but the gap for him and the guy in front is quite significant. So I don't think he's going to catch Borrett. He's 36 seconds behind. So Borrett's looking good here, as is Peter, for a top 5 finish. Now Kenny and Jorgen are fighting. I don't know. I know Kenny was. They've had contact with each other. Now, I think they've had a bit of door banging coming down into that straight, into that little corner. Interesting. So I think Jorgen's made another mistake. as his lap time was 5 seconds down compared to Kenny's alone. Yeah, he's managed to pull it away now. I think Jorgen's got his head together. Who else is on a charge at the moment? Let's go back to Kai to see how Guy can do anything with Don. The last lap, Kai was a full second quicker again. So Don's lap was a 2:10 flat. Wow. Kai's was a 2:10.1. So Don was quicker that lap, only just, but he is letting Kai in ever so slowly. There's 11 minutes to go. Is that going to be enough? And we can see there, Benny's coming out the pits, and Uwe is 3.6 seconds behind the pair of them. So Uwe's sitting there waiting to see if he can get any further up the podium. He's currently sitting in 3rd place. Let's have a quick rundown. In 1st place, we've got Don Harvey. He's currently leading Kai by 3 seconds. He's now starting to pull away a little bit. You can see there now the gap is increasing. Kai is 3.6 seconds ahead of Uwe Tholen, who's behind him. And Kai he's actually going quicker now as well, so he's not letting Don get away. I will keep an eye on them times though. Uwe's 19 seconds clear of Peter. That's Peter de Jong. And his last lap was a 2:10.9. But his fastest was a 2:09, so he's definitely got pace in that BMW. Peter is 5 seconds ahead of Borat. Borat does look like he's pulling the gap down though. So I think this could be a battle towards the end of the race, Borat versus Peter. Peter's last lap was a 2:10.7, and that was his fastest lap. Borat is 44 seconds clear of Andy Skelton, and his last lap was a 2:09.7, and that's his fastest lap. So everyone's starting to put their fastest laps in together now. So Borat's definitely a second quicker than Peter was on the last lap. Andy Skelton's 9 seconds clear of Thierry, and his last lap was a 2:16.02. His best was a 2:15.3. Thierry is just ahead of Jorgen, as we can see here, and they've already had a bit of a, I'm not going to say a bit of a to-do, but Jorgen's just struggling to get past Thierry. We'll just sit with this battle a minute. Thierry's fastest is a 2:13.1, and that was his last lap as well. A lot of drivers are just banging in the fastest laps now. I said as the track dries out, this will happen. And in fact, if you look at the weather at the top, if the race was to carry on, it goes dry. So the track conditions are improving. The temperature's not changing. But what's wrong with the temperature? But the track conditions are improving for the racers. We'll be finding more grip with each lap. Hence why the times are starting to come down. Then he's coming out of the pits, so he's not giving up because he knows he's still going to get some points, even though he's currently running last. Thierry's defending brilliantly here. You can see just how close Jorgen is. There he goes. He's made the pass quite easy there. He got a really good drive out, and I would expect him to make the pass. Don't squeeze each other and make contact. Braking points have got to be spot on, and they've done it. So Jorgen's now managed to pass Thierry. You have to get the car settled there. Thierry's coming back at him a bit here. Still good clean racing though. Respect to both guys there. That's the way to do it. And that's Jorgen's now 8 seconds behind Andy Skelton. And looking at the lap times, he's 2 seconds a lap short of Andy Skelton, so he's going to be catching Andy in 3 laps, I reckon. We shall see. Now the battle at the front, sorry, I'll carry on down the list, my apologies. Kenny is 6 seconds behind Thierry. His fastest lap's a 2:14.3. Sorry, his best lap's a 2:12. His last lap was a 2:14.3. He's 13 seconds clear of Richard Coloom, who's in the Ferrari. His last lap was a 2:14 flat as well, so very similar to Kenny. And then John Wilson, who's been in the pits, he's quite a distance behind the cars in front. I think he's a lap down actually. He's 2:14.4 was his last lap. So everyone's now settled I think, in their laps. In fact, Benny's quit, down to 12 drivers, so Benny's called it a day. So that means that Gerwin's now going to be at the back. Now Borrett, I did say, was catching Peter. Peter is pitting. Now what's going on there? Now this could be a gain for Andy Skelton. So has Peter put the wrong tyres on and killed them? Because Borrett was catching him at a rate of knots, and Peter's last lap was a 2:13. So not too sure what's gone on there. Interesting. The Borrett was 4 seconds. I wonder if he's had a mistake. So the question is Andy Skelton going to get him? And I think he is, you know. This means Andy Skelton could move himself up into 5th place. He's coming round the last bend now before the pits. Peter's still stationary. Andy's going to get him. And Jorgen is going to get him too. They've both got him. Both Andy. There's Andy passing him. And Jorgen's got him too. And Thierry just misses out, or does he? So Peter's come out of the pits just in front of Thierry. He's lost a couple of places there. Interesting. Not sure what's gone on there at all. Jorgen is now gaining though on Andy Skelton. So if we look in the rear view mirror of Andy Skelton's car, that's what he can see. You can see the Honda streaming up the hill behind him. This means Andy Skelton's going to be dropped back down to 6th if Jorgen passes. And it also means that Jorgen, he's not giving in, he's going to gain another position. Bide your time. Don't push it. Don't force it. It's not a passing place there. And Andy's very good at defending. You can see Andy's just putting his car in the right place of the track. But I do think we're going to see.
It's now closed.
We're going to see. There's Peter flying behind them. Peter wants to be careful, otherwise he's going to be in the wall again. Oof. He's really going for it. It's Peter. He's pushing. Jorgen, I think, is going to get Andy on the straight here. I think that Honda will outgrunt the Aston. You can see there, the drive completely different on the Honda. Absolutely flying. Andy's going to try and defend, but he's not. It's going to be the indefensible. Because that Honda's just too quick. Yeah, he's already cleared him. And Peter's now wanting his place back from Andy as well. So that's the next battle I think is going to materialise with 3 minutes left to go. I'm not too sure. He can't have splashed and dashed, for the simple reason being they're not allowed to fuel. So I'm not too sure what happened there. So Jorgen's last lap was the fastest lap. He's into the 208s. He's the only driver into the 208s. He's down on that lap because he was behind. But Jorgen is absolutely shifting at the moment, and he's not going to make any further headway forward unless Borrett bins it, because Borrett's 50 odd seconds in front of him. Sorry, 50 seconds in front of him. So Borrett just needs to keep his head in it, and he'll claim 4th. Uwe is gaining on Kai. In fact, I'm just going to go back to Peter. Peter's having a go at Andy as well. He's holding his line. Oh, and Andy's spun it. He's always managed to keep it. He did brush the wall, but it has allowed Peter to pass him. So he was under pressure from Peter there. So that's I dropped Andy back. I think we were half expecting that. It's a shame he managed to brush the wall though. But Uwe's got basically a lap and a half to go to catch Kai. Let's see if he can do it. Kai's easing off. So the last laps, I mean, they're now in the 208s, but the last lap for Kai was a 208.945, and Uwe's was a 208.972. Don's was a 208.952. But these guys are running within 1/10 of each other. So the top 3 guys are within 1/10 of the lap time. Just let that sink in. 1/10. In fact, if I wanted to be accurate, I could say it's 0.03 of a second between them. That's some going, and they've all produced their fastest laps on the last lap. So they're all pushing and going for it. At the moment, Jorgen is getting the qualifying lap. Sorry, the fastest lap point. And that's going to stretch his lead at the top of the leaderboard as well. Jorgen is going for the 207s. There it is. A 207.8. Let's go to Thierry. Thierry's now putting pressure on Andy Skelton. See if Ferrari can pass the Aston. He's going to go up the side. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. He's going to have to wait for the straight. I think on the straight that Ferrari will get the Bentley. Sorry, we'll get the Aston Martin. Not the Bentley, the Aston Martin. The guys up front, they're so consistent with the lap times. Uwe's going for it. I don't know if he's got enough time. He's
Right, man. The leader is on the final lap.
He's just lost a bit of time there. Kai's last lap. So Don's last lap was a 209.3. Kai's was a 209 flat. Uwe's was a 208.7. And that was Uwe's fastest lap. So Uwe is really, really putting pressure on it. But he's got 2 seconds on Kai, so he's going to struggle. He's really looking for a mistake by Kai. And Kai's been too consistent for that. Question now is Thierry going to get Andy Skelton or not? Andy's just seemed to have kept him at bay a little bit through here. This is where it looks like the Ferrari seems to handle the grip better in these corners, and that is the countdown on the race is over. So these guys. Oh, he's got a good run there as Thierry. He's got a great run. Is he going to make it though? Not got the same grunt as the Honda, has it? You can see he's going to do it. But they're both going to have to be respectful coming into the chase. Yep, there you go. Again, good racing. Yeah, he's been involved in some good battles here. Some good gentleman racing there. Now, Kai is now closing in on Don. He's pulled away from Uwe. He's closing in on Don. Ah, Don's in traffic. That's why. So Don's lost nearly a second behind Richard, I think. This is going to give... I mean, they're coming up to the final bit now, so I don't think it's going to matter. But you just don't want to bin it on this lap, do you? Or end up hitting a back marker or something. Good on Richard there, moving over. And I think we're going to see our race winner.
The leader has finished the race.
Kai in second place, Don Harvey, winner. Kai in second place, Uwe Tholin third, and separated by 2.5 seconds. Borat is going to claim fourth, 30 seconds behind. He did close the gap. I think it was 36 at one point, so it's down to 31. So he did do a little bit of gaining, a couple of fast laps in there. The guy with the fastest lap is going to be Jorgen, so he's going to get the extra point. Great result for Borat, that. Hope you enjoyed that. And Jorgen is still in the mountain, coming up to the chase. Sorry, coming up to the Forest Elbow. Down to the Cod Rod Straight. Jorgen at one point was second from back and has made it through with some lightning laps to finish what's going to be in 5th place. Don't forget though, if it's his lowest scoring race, it won't count, so it won't really matter. But the conditions were very, shall we say, unpredictable. God knows what's going to happen tomorrow in the split one. Well done, Jorgen. Bringing it home. And then Peter de Jong just behind. Had a bit of a... He ended up pitting twice, did Peter. Still managed to do well. There's Thierry. Great result that, Thierry, 7th place. Some good racing in there as well, I think. And then just behind that, we've got Andy Skelton. And then Kenny. And Kenny has got a wheel broken. Is that his wheel locked up there? Wow. What's he done to that? The wheel's not spinning. 3 wheels on my kart. Has he popped it? I've never seen that before. Looks like he's popped it. That was good. That was a good race. That. Well done, everyone. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I believe the race tomorrow is going to be streamed by Darren. So you'll all be able to watch the race tomorrow. Thanks very much, all. Take care. Bye-bye.